Hi Sagittarius, it's good to see you. Been a busy morning for me. I hope you've done well. Got a curl in my face and we're gonna do your reading. I have not pulled up a chart today, but Heather and I are going to go live in a little bit. If you'd like to join us over on her YouTube channel, Woke.Ones.Revolution. Also, a couple of other announcements. If you're not aware, my calendar is open again. Yes, I'm doing readings again throughout the week. And I've chosen Saturdays on the weekends from 11 to 6. So if you'd like to do that, click the link below the video. Another announcement is that our Heather has made a brave choice to leave Kansas and come down here with John and I in Texas. So that was a strange sliding down of a slide. Like coming down like a roller coaster. John and I got this picture this week, and we don't know who, what, when, where, how. We just know that the refrigerator at the yellow house leaked, and it's huge. I should show you guys a picture of it, because all of our beautiful wooden floors in the kitchen, in a probably about a 4 or 5 feet radius around the refrigerator, all the wood is warped, and just the whole floor is going to have to be replaced. So, you know, when you put a house on the market for a year and it doesn't move, and then you have these huge things, I gotta go home. I gotta go back to the yellow house. So Heather's going to come with me, which is good. I won't be alone. And we're going to just do readings and create content together. And it'll be a great thing. So, those are my announcements. It's good to see you. I want to focus on Sagittarius. Sagittarius, please. It's June 2025 for Sagittarius. Let me go ahead and change the camera view. Boop. There we go. So, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, please, for June 2025. Sagittarius. June 2025 for Sagittarius. Ooh. Ooh, look at that. Coming out strong with the Emperor card. The Magician in the reverse. The Ace of Wands. All right. Ooh. High Priestess on the underside of the deck and the Five of Swords in the upright. Okay. Let me set that down there. Handy dandy pencil. There we go. In the spread, we have an Aries. We have a Gemini. A Cancer or a Virgo. I think Cancer energy is moving through the collective right now, and that's good. Notice the Four of Swords in the upright here, and this is forward movement. Like, this is how this kind of works for those of you that are not familiar. Energy is like a river, and if we touch nothing, if we do nothing, unaware, just keep living life, the forward positions of the outcome in the cards are what's going to happen. It's what we're going to be faced with. So the benefit of having the tarot is that it sort of lets us look around the next bend, and we can make it a conscious choice to choose something different if we want to. So there you go. I see the Four of Swords in the upright in the outcome position. I have the Three of Swords in the reverse down here, and then the Queen of Swords in the reverse up here in the final outcome. So notice 3 plus 1 is 4, and that's in reverse, and then the 4 in the upright. So that kind of caught my attention, that somebody is sort of like 50-50 in their head. They're 50-50. Should I? Shouldn't I? It's doing that Gemini thing that is your opposition point, and it's going back and forth. So I wonder if, like, Jupiter is really affecting your sign right now, because Jupiter is across from you, across from your sign right now, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. All right, I'm going to pause because I don't want to waste your minutes. Let me get into it. Okay, I'm back. I laid an extra card here to see what that Magician in the reverse is. We're coming in here in the past. This is a very large load that's been kind of discharged and finished, and it's over, like this certain activity. So this Aries or this Emperor person is sort of coming in and looking at the state of something, right? We're going to hear a communication, and it's going to alert us to something here, Sag, that we don't know. The Maze in the reverse is the, what is it? It's the Temperance card in the reverse. So it shows someone who's unable to navigate something, or yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Something. Our Ace of Swords is here, so we go from 3 to 4. It's a good thing. We're processing information, but this message here of someone making another choice, and that's part of the challenge. It's sort of in our mind and in our brain at the moment, Sagittarius, looking at what failed, the 2 3s. We're talking about creation with the numerology, the number 3, the creation of something that couldn't work itself out, thus removing a choice. Now, I found it strange, if you can look at the screen, notice the swaying of this 2 of Pentacles in the reverse. The girl is wearing a skirt, and out from underneath the skirt are coming all of these questions. The 9 of Swords in the reverse, it talks about someone who's trying to, relieve themselves of some sort of mental pressure, but there's choices in this 9 of Swords in the reverse. There's communication. There's a lot of messages that are being sent, and the 9 of Swords in the upright for me is a card where this person, they're looking at everything, like as a whole, and they're trying to deal with each question in their mind about what just happened and how is this going to move forward, and somebody made a choice or a decision and they didn't talk with me about it, and someone who's feeling challenged. Look at this card, the elementalist. This is the elementalist, right? I'm going to lay that there because it fell out of my hand. The 8 of Swords in the reverse right next to that says that we have an action plan, a choice with the Ace of Swords to do an action plan right here that needs to be done. We need to transmute the energy of all of these doubts and all of these questions that come out from underneath this girl's skirt, right? So notice the cards of creation Over here on the left, we have the Magician, and it can be a learning card because I can see that this person has challenges learning something. And up here, it's transmuting all of that worry, all of that struggle into an action plan, and someone's having a hard time doing it. There is a choice out front with the Queen of Swords in the reverse. This choice may have been made or it may not have been made, but the choice to release and finalize to the Ten of Swords in the reverse. That's kind of what's coming out. However, it's going to force you to make a choice that perhaps you don't want to make. Part of the challenge about this, I'm hearing that it could be a communication with someone. Part of the challenge is that there's karma attached to it that requires an ending. Like we need to make a choice. We need to have a conversation because we're looking at an action plan, maybe of another person, because there's two people here, but there's also two pentacles here. We need to fix something. We need to repair something. And the key is to actually deal with the negative karma. Now, I'm sort of sensing with the Queen of Swords in the reverse, this could be a Gemini and somebody who's like running their mouth. And we do have Gemini energy twice, but I can tell that there's an inadequacy here. And then a conversation, I'm hearing a Libra maybe, where they're pointing out a truth that may hurt your feelings. A lot of this mental stuff that's going on, to me, the cards with the swords in the reverse doesn't necessarily tell me that that communication is well between you and another person. That you're watching these choices. That perhaps you need to stay silent. It's almost like, Sag, what the right thing to do is here. Whether it's to do more research, whether it's to dig a little deeper, into a subject or subject matter. But you kind of know that perhaps you need to stay silent where this is concerned. The Sacrifice card is in the reverse, so this must be the Hangman. And it's in the reverse. And this person who's ready to come down off of the tree, and this is like reaching for someone who doesn't want to make you a choice in some way. The Six of Embers in the reverse talks about doing something to gain a victory. We have to do something that we've never done before. We have to try something that we haven't tried before around this karmic situation down here. Okay, with the challenge position in the Wheel of Fortune. I think that whoever we're looking at, you and this other person have both been watching which way the wind is going to blow, perhaps around a job function, work, this, your partner or whoever this fractured relationship that I'm looking at, it has an inadequacy to it. It also has the pressure of wind. There's a lot of wind, so there could have been a lot of people talking about this. Someone's looking at their lack more than they're looking at their ability, and it's messing with their head. This Ten of Wands back here, this completion, some of you may be receiving information this week that something has been cleared, like a medical diagnosis, and we're clear of it now, like the big C, and we got checked and everything's good. It does seem that there is calling all clear on a situation. The timing of it, though, sort of shows me that someone else may not have been ready to wait, or maybe they waited too long. Handling stress, handling pressure during a difficult time back here. That stress and that pressure and the buildup of all of that may have put a few more gray hairs in your goatee. But the person that's looking at you is sort of saying, my Sagittarius person is not handling things well. I don't know if there's been a lot of moodiness or shifting of moods with you. This could also be some sense, how would I put it? It's when you sensationalize. That's it. Sensationalizing the emotions about what's not working and what has failed. Notice the 3 of Pentacles in the reverse is down here. And this is what's on the other person's mind. They're looking at what has not been put together well. The 3 plus the 2 of Pentacles, that gives us 5, and that's in the reverse. Notice the challenge position with that Ace of Swords has the 5 of Pentacles in the upright. So again, we see another 50-50. The brains, 50-50, and that's with the swords, and then the Pentacles, 50-50. So you see the wind and the earth, and I was thinking of this earlier, actually. I was in the closet, and I was looking through my shirts, and it just hit me really fast. If there's too much earth, when you have air and you have earth, if there's too much earth, it'll bury you alive. If there's too much earth, it'll bury you alive. It'll suffocate. So I don't know if that word sort of helps you out a little bit to decipher part of the issue here between you and another person. Let me go ahead and do the next round. 2 people who are looking at how to solve issues differently. Looking at the 50-50 and how someone should be thinking versus how they think, And that's pretty normal in relationships. You're going to find a challenge to compromise. And maybe there is a boundary or something put there, Sagittarius, and maybe your person sort of figured out a different way to handle that boundary. Maybe they looked at that boundary and they just kind of said, okay, you're giving me 2 choices and you think that's all the choices I have. Well, look at the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. Those are not my only choices. I'll just go make some new choices or go find some new choices. And to me, it's sort of like spinning someone really fast because, yes, there's like a stop, hit the brakes, look around and go, what just happened? If you feel like you knew someone well, like really well, the spread for me carries that energy of, I never thought that they would do something like this. And there's the Ace of Wands, because notice there is a person in the spread here who suddenly throws something away. And I'm seeing a repair, a very strong repair. Also being reminded to tell you guys, those of you that are astrologically inclined, Virgo and Pisces, that's where the nodes are presently. Virgo and Pisces square your sign. And Neptune and Saturn have officially left Pisces, which means you're not getting the effect of that square should lessen over time as Neptune and Saturn kind of pull away from Pisces. So, the unlocking of a situation that maybe drug you very far through the mud. This person chose something else. I'm kind of feeling that there might have been like an abundance of frustration here that's finally released. I'm hearing the time has come. And, well, let me just finish the spread. It's like the time has come. If you've been dealing with a Gemini or a Capricorn, maybe those folks are the topic of why we had to come at something. There is a spark of understanding with this Ace of Wands in the upright and that King of Swords in the reverse. It talks about someone doing or making a choice that kind of goes long distance and looking at a choice. Man, the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords in the reverse. This isn't what you want to commit to. It's not a choice that perhaps you were ready to make in the past. I'm also catching that, the differing value systems between you and another person. I'm also hearing, it's amazing how fast something can spin and get back under control, But I also catch the wonder and the wow at how fast something just went. Phew. The game changed. It's almost like I'm over here. I'm feeling like a gate that was locked and now it's opening. Wow. We have an Aquarius out front here. All right, there could have been an issue with an Aquarius. I see that. Maybe even another earth sign here, but this is someone who got really frustrated and they could have been getting after another person to do something. It would sound like this. I want you to quit doing XYZ. And perhaps the person in you couldn't come to some sort of compromise over that. And to me, it's sort of like fostering that isolation and saying, okay, well, we're not going to do this Ace of Wands until you get this under control and this under control. And then you can go ahead and move on your little merry way. The person you're dealing with here, well, okay, let me back up. We're not going to take off on a big choice or a big decision until XYZ gets taken care of and thrown away. And that could also be time, So, we'll see. It's a lot like that. We'll see how things pan out. We'll see. The person who is making that sort of statement, that person, the requirements that person was looking at, it's almost like they missed something. They missed something critical in their thinking process. I don't know if a person broke up with another one, where they got so frustrated with them for not doing what they wanted them to do, where they, because I see someone who has lost their shite a little bit. I don't know if they're a heavy drinker or a drug user. I see someone who could have gotten very ill or very sick. But there is a key issue here that Sagittarius has kind of toed the line, remove something, and then we'll move forward. But I can also hear this person saying, why aren't you doing this activity? How come you're not doing it this? How come you're not? And there's pushiness with this. Some of you may have lost your shite so badly that you kicked somebody out or that you left a place, So I need to add those things just in case. The issue going forward is that you didn't hear from this person on how they were dealing with this situation, because maybe they weren't around, maybe you kicked them out, maybe you quit talking to them, I don't know. But we turn around and we see that the person all of a sudden can do. Like, all of a sudden they're doing. They're also, with the sacrifice in the reverse, they're not doing it your way. They found a different way to do. Now, I don't know if that way is better, because someone is looking at all the past arguments maybe these conversations of flitting in and out. We're seeing the reality of how free this person really is. We're watching the choices that they're making. There could be a soulmate, soul contract person attached to them in some way. And I think it's confusing because once you hear of the direction they're going in, this Page of Swords sort of comes out and there's like, oh no, there's doubt. This person's going to make a choice that makes them happy. You know, you get a little freaked out. They're going to leave me. They don't need me. They're going to go away, you know. This could also be like an animal. They're going to take my animal with them to go do this happy thing because they found a different way to do something. And what about me, you know? You have a different mission, Sag, and that's what's on your mind here. You may have got word of a different situation apart from this other person. Notice the Two of Wands came out in the Sagittarius position with that, with the Emperor card. In the past, we know that a huge job perhaps needs to be done. Something needs to be picked up. You've thought in your mind, well, maybe I can go ahead and assume that role, or maybe I can go ahead and step into a role of some kind. And I'm really excited because it's a happy thing for me. However, the Two of Wands is a split energy. Notice the wand. This first wand for me is pointing at the King of Pentacles, or the King of Wands. There's the purpose. There's a fresh new purpose. And on the other side, it's discharging another thing that you had committed a lot of time with this person, or you know, to me, it's almost like being far from someone, being far away from someone. I got called away to work. I'm on a different mission. My calling is different than yours. Look at that. And all of a sudden off they go. There's the Star card and the Chariot card in the upright. Movement, something moving forward here. Notice the challenge position is you can't stop someone from going somewhere. You can't interfere or interrupt someone from doing it their way, you know. I'm going to say this, Sagittarius. The majority of your lessons, like, okay, for instance, if the majority of Leo's lessons are to deal with acceptance and rejection, the majority of Sagittarius energy is about having faith, trust, joy, happiness. You know, we start with Scorpio energy in the 8th house, and Scorpio takes us into the darkness, into the shadow. It shows us some of the ugliest things about humanity, you know. But as we leave the 8th house, we come up into the 9th house, we enter into this space of Sagittarius, and it's coming back up into the light. So a lot of Sagittariuses can be very intense. A lot of those placements can be very intense for just having left the 8th house of Scorpio. It can be difficult to get a Sagittarius. Sometimes they're a little too much, you know, and they're joking around and teasing and doing all the stuff that they do. It's not taking things seriously. However, on the other side of it, it's having faith, it's having trust. And what I'm seeing in the outcome here is powerlessness. Sort of like saying somebody's going to do whatever they want to do. And now I don't have control over, you know, where they go, what they do. Are they going to leave me? Are they not going to leave me? This last part is what's getting me right down here. So hang on, I'm going to pause. Well, we're at 30 minutes. Let me pause real quick. I want to translate the ending to this story. Okay, I figured out what it is. These cards here identify the reality of the toll that something is, going through something challenging. We're realizing the toll. There's always a price, right? But there is a person that we're looking at, and we're looking at the fact that they need rest, or they need care, or there's something that this person needs with the Empress and the upright. Maybe it's you. But there's a wide-eyed sort of reality of changing the dynamics to see the cost, the cost of something, of making a choice. So this Empress in the upright needs rest, nutrients, care. That card talks about being able to take care of oneself and, rest. It is. And then we catch wind. Another person is doing something or saying something, and we're seeing their plans moving forward. And we're going to pick up on a communication that may sound very critical of you. Like this person thinks critically about you. The words that they speak may have some sort of attachment to you that makes you look bad, And it points directly to the abruptness of an ending. And it points to a sort of disloyalty towards dealing with a certain process. That's what I think. It's sort of like, did we get through it? Yes. Did you handle it well? No. And that's sort of how this person is talking about you. So, being at 32 minutes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this other person out. And there's the Queen of Swords in the reverse right there. Just give me a second. I'm going to gather up the cards. And then let's go ahead and see how this person thinks about you in real life. Okay, hang on. Okay, Sag. So we're going to look at this Queen of Swords in the reverse. And you know what? While I was sitting here shuffling the cards, I heard something that was sort of like, are you going my way? And I know that was a song. Are you going my way? Show me how this Queen of Swords in the reverse, how do they feel about the relationship with Sagittarius, please? Show me this person and how they feel. Show me this person here. Show me how they feel about the relationship with Sag, please. Yeah, are you going my way? That keeps coming into my energy. Are you going my way? Oh, that Ten of Wands in the reverse hung out. So something long term that got discharged. Alright, so this is an energy that's going to come to you when you're hanging out with your family or your friends or your work colleagues, and maybe they're the ones that are involved in this decision making to make a life change or a swap or something of this choice. The Hangman in the reverse. All right, I'm going to lay that right there. I'm going to get a Kleenex. All right. So your person may have come, this is how they feel, okay? This is how they feel about the relationship. They've been polite. You know, to me it feels like the interactions between the two of you have been, well, I don't know, it's sort of like this person coming to you and saying, I have a need that needs to be tended to, and they're asking for time, or they're asking for help here. You know, something big. All they get is silence, like on the other end. They're not talking. They're also not, like, if there's been a rejection of help or a rejection of, like, let's say that, oh no, because it's sort of like, hey, would you like to come hang out? Hey, would you like to do whatever? They could have hinted at asking you to do something. Let's put it that way. I don't know if the timing was off, because I'm going to stop. I'm hurting myself. Look, the old, with Neptune and Saturn and Pisces, all of that stuff is done. And we had that talk when Pluto moved into Aquarius. The abruptness of the, like, shutting of the doors of something that we had been stewing on and dealing with, you know, for a really long time. We're in a completely new phase. What I could see is, like, historically, there may have been requests. Can I have a visitation? You know, can I see the kids? Can I please get some help? I'm hurting. Can I get some comfort? You know, notice the Knight of Cups in the upright and the Page of Cups in the upright. These are gentle requests. And what I see over here is that there's a decision that this person makes about doing something with you, because there's very little, I don't know, it's like, how am I going to get that done? Someone has a very sharp edge to them. I also kind of catch here that there's a person that, it's not that they don't like work, they perhaps don't like working with someone who loses their temper or has a sharp edge, or I don't know, there's sort of looking at someone and saying, I didn't have a choice. You know, this other person made the choice for me. This other person kind of drug me into all of their committed things. You know, I know the distance I'm willing to go. There's a memory here, Sag, where someone remembers how it was hanging out with someone, or how it was talking with someone. They may have put conversations on moving a situation forward. And to me, it looks like someone keeps making this Six of Cups situation more important than dealing with the problem at hand that exists between you and this other person. Also kind of catching here that someone may be saying, you know, I don't want to do all that work. I remember what it was like and I don't want to do it again. I just don't want to do it again. It's a lot of work, you know. This card always gets me, this Three of Wands in the reverse, because it talks about, look at the umbilical cord that's hooked up to this person's stomach, and I don't even know if it's processing well because it's bloated, but something's been starved out. Something has been starved out over time that hasn't been fed. And this person, the way they feel about it is that any time your family called or any time a family situation came up, there was no communication. Anything family or bonding or coming together in a happy way. Someone here is concerned with their money. They're concerned with an inheritance. They're so concerned that they didn't have time. I don't know. It's very hard energy. I don't have time to hang out. I'm dealing with a lot of painful issues here. Always concerned and worried about how that other person is doing. And now they're looking at it. Someone's looking at it. And they're sort of saying, if it's ambiguous between us, I don't care at this point, If it's polite between us, I don't care. I've still remained committed. I've done my part here. This person kind of drugged me into a lot of stuff. And they're looking at the time that you spent together in a completely different way than you are. Because they're seeing how someone just kind of rolled it off their shoulders. You watched me in a painful situation here. You didn't check on me, or you didn't call, or you didn't offer that communication of how. It would also be like you don't ask me to come with you in this bonded relationship and talk about how we're going to move something forward. You just do, and then you drag me into it. I think you might be a little shocked because this person is silent a lot of the time. And there could be someone close that's watching this go down. This person that's close could be talking about how someone made their own emotions and their own desires and their own will more important here than the challenge that was at hand. Like what was going on in the present, and someone maybe was trying to avoid looking at it. There may be a lot of unforgiveness here, or bitterness. Because I kind of see that, it carries with it an abandonment thing, but to me, the abandonment is definitely attached to maybe neglectfulness or irresponsibility in making something or someone a priority. We have a mission with the Queen of Wands in the upright that needs to be accomplished, but it requires people to cooperate with one another, And I see over here that the worry and the concern and all of this stuff in this person's head is kind of dominating the working together part. It's almost like we have these life experiences not to climb and conquer the hill, but it's about the journey and how we work together to climb that hill, if that makes sense. Because once we get to the top of the pinnacle, the whole thing is like done, right? But life is not that moment. That moment is a moment. Life is the struggle. Life is how we're getting there, So to me, it does kind of carry with it a sense of neglectfulness, yes. But the King of Wands in the reverse tells me, especially with the Ace of Cups in the upright, there is an offer that's come in for this person in some way that says, hey, I'm here. You don't have to do something alone. You don't have to kickstart something on your own. This person may have strong experience. They may have a different way of achieving this thing, but it looks like they're the ones that come in with an option to turn around something karmically, to turn it around for someone. And they're the ones that kind of come in and they say, hey, I've been turning this wheel for like a really long time. And they're telling them, you don't have to make those two choices your only two choices. You know what I mean? You don't have to do that. You know, if the situation is going to change, if the wheel is going to turn, they're saying, aha, you know, someone told you there was only two options, but look, I have three. I have three other options. And so now this person has made this choice and this decision. They've been looking at it, and I kind of get that Sag is maybe perhaps feeling a little left out and a little worried and a little concerned about the freedom of someone else. Like, where are they going to go? Who are they going to talk to? Can I trust them if they go that way? You know, it has that sort of energy to it. It's kind of like the first time that you have visitation with your child and your ex-spouse takes the kid with them, you know, and you're standing there going, oh my God, please, 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 I hope everything works out. Show me a card for Sag, please. A relationship in the reverse, yeah. A player, someone could have felt played, not wanting a reconciliation or not making a reconciliation happen. Seeing something quite possibly on social media and seeing that this person is going to be just fine. You know, not responding to text or not talking with this person about their desire, and knowing here, this person's going to go out into the world. They're going to explore. They're going to see the world differently. They're going to be on a completely different journey. And I'll just admit, you're a little freaked out. Somebody here is, they're concerned. But they're also standing here, I don't know, it kind of has this sense of alignment to it. If it's time, then it's kind of time, you know, and it's kind of like being okay with change. This card says red lipstick stains. Private relationship. So if, it's kind of crazy because, I mean, to me, it looks as if Sag didn't really give the relationship the kind of care it needed. And now the person is making a different choice. This card says in their feels. And I can see that. Somebody sort of standing there going, what? Wait a second, what? Check yourself. Fulfilling a fantasy. Emotional intelligence. Destroyed, shattered, broken, effed up. Already knowing the tea. Because, yeah, I could see that it's sort of like Sag knew. They knew what they weren't looking at the time. You know, they knew. It's just, I guess it's catching up. Keeping you a secret. Maybe this other person already knew what you were up to. You know what I mean? Knowing, oh God, knowing they effed up. Someone here kind of knowing they effed something up. Caught. Finding evidence, getting caught, cheating, right? And sexual protection is in the reverse. That's what I'm saying. When that message or that story kind of comes out, Sag is going to sit back and be like, oh my God, they remember that. Oh, I didn't know that they saw my phone and saw who I was talking to. Oh, I didn't know that they had, you know, deducted the truth. Wow, this is bigger than what I thought it originally was, Sagittarius. A love story once upon a time. This person thought they could just, like, they were going to have And it was just only a matter of time and I would have this person. They also may have tried to go out into the world and replace this person. Always having in the back of their head, well, you know, they'll catch up. They'll catch up. They'll catch up to me. And then this story actually comes out where this person is like, you think I don't know? I've known everything all along. Now, this is a great humbling moment to watch someone else come in a strong way. Because this is sort of like seeing how you think you're misaligned, right? You think you're misaligned. And then you find out you're not. That you're not misaligned. You were the one. You were the one kind of anchoring it with this storyline thing or whatever. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the other person is coming in with an Ace of Cups. And I can see that as well with the Ace of Cups in the upright and the King of Wands in the reverse. As someone sort of saying, you know, I forgive you for the cheating. You know, I know that you've been having an affair for a very long time, but I forgive you. And I'm bringing in an Ace of Cups. So it's sort of like if you thought you were in a righteous stance, and that righteousness thing is going to be happening with everybody because Neptune is in Aries. So if this is your first time taking the tripwire, then show us how it's done, Sag. Show us how it's done. To be humbled is to be grateful, because it points out another attachment inside of ourselves that we get to remove, or we get to identify, give the demon a name, and let's shed it from our lives. So if this is a moment of like taking a knee and sort of going, yeah, that was something I didn't address in the past, let's just go ahead and handle it, Sag. Show everybody what it looks like to take responsibility for things, you know, and to build a bridge and kind of come back. Because I do see that the Ace of Cups, like when I look at this is not someone who's coming in with fire and brimstone, you know. Their memory, look at all the spikes on the top of her head. You know, she could have taken all of those thoughts and those words and said, you know what, I remember, sure, it hurts me, but it helped me to build a brain. There's an idea that kind of comes with it. Let me do the hidden oracle here. I know we're at 52 minutes. Show me some cards for Sagittarius, please. I don't know. This person is like coming in with forgiveness. Look, I want to be more than friends. You and I were too young. And these could be excuses or something that someone has told themselves. I don't know. It says you were the best thing in my life. Sometimes I stay awake thinking about you. I know I messed everything up. I wish I could share my good news with you. I hid who I really am from you. I couldn't let you get close to me. And maybe it's just because two people were jacked up and hopefully they're getting healing so those two people can come back together. It says, I bury myself in work to forget you. Let's see what the other person is saying. Show me the cards for Sagittarius. Okay. This says, I can still see you standing there, right? I don't know how to let you go. It says, I don't know what to say. I hope you're happy. I've been struggling. Yeah, I can see that. Leaving you hurt me too. Sometimes I hear your voice. It says, I never used to look at you that way. I've been here before with others. I'm waiting for an apology. And that's the crazy part, because this person could be standing here waiting for the apology, and then in comes the Queen of Swords that actually points something out that Sagittarius has done in the past. Because the person that has this opinion of you, they have memory of being with you, emotional memory of being with you and remembering certain things, right? You are not part of my plan. That's why I'm sort of looking at Sagittarius like, get ready for the ripping out of the rug from underneath that righteousness story. Because I think it's, whatever this person is saying, it's pointing out to something in the past that was done. And Sag might very well be the one on their knee asking for forgiveness. So if somebody is sitting over here going, I'm waiting for an apology, no. Says, yes, it is too late. I am different now. And I think that's part of the jive that's sort of going on here. I would sort of name this, get ready for the rug to be ripped out from underneath you. That's what, like, if I were going to name the video. Show me what's going on with Sag, please. A few cards with Sag. It says, whatever you wish, but it's in the reverse. Whatever you wish is in the reverse. When you lessen the importance of problems and suffering, life will swing back into balance. Stop the struggle and feel peace. The world responds to you. And notice it came out in the reverse. So just surrendering and going with the journey, one day at a time. This person wasn't able to do that. It says, what do you want? If you react negatively, to the success and joy of others, it's a sign that you want more for yourself. Don't hold yourself back. Expand your comfort zone. A new chapter. When things seem to be falling apart, be aware that things may be coming together in new ways that suit the next phase of your life even better. Exactly as you are. The one who is always dissatisfied with the present moment will never have a better future. Give yourself permission to feel content right here, right now. The spirit of love. Don't search for true love, for it will find you if you just hold on to who you are. The world already loves your essence, so don't change it for anyone. And on the underside of the deck, it says, simplify life. Life is meant to be simple and easy. Don't let superficial energies distract you from your true essence. Simplicity and purity will lift your spirit. All right, I'm going to do this last little deck, the very sharp one, the ouchie ouch one. Please, just show me for Sagittarius. Okay. There we go. It says, I feel cold and detached from this connection. I can't feel emotions right now. This one says, I know what I am doing. I play dumb to keep you confused. It says, I cannot listen to your voice. It affects my soul. I need to free myself from fear and doubts. I am a caged bird. On the underside of the deck, it says, I am finally seeing my worth, yet I still feel unworthy of your love. I'm going to leave that right there, Sagittarius. It's always a pleasure to sit with you. Don't forget that I am doing readings again. If you want emailed readings, just email me. The donation links, you send $25, you put your question there, I'll type up a thing and just kick it back to you. It's kind of a faster way than waiting to get into the calendar. But don't forget that Heather and I are going to go live. I'm probably late, and I'll see you guys soon, okay? Bye.